Hello, everyone of the sign of Libra. Sorry, I'm itching my nose. I felt if like a spider web. Anyways, we're going to be talking about the month of May 2025. Three topics that are very important for May 2025. First is May 4th. We're going to have a Pluto retrograde, and that will be active till October 12th. Okay. Pluto retrograde usually has a way of bringing back to light something that we're trying to ignore to realign our lives to the right frequency. So this is like, deflection. We try to deflect and try to pretend something's not really bothering us, so the situation's not that bad. And then all of a sudden it gets worse. So it's because it wants us to pay attention to it. That's what usually happens during a Pluto retrograde. Now, for you all, my Libras, this Pluto retrograde. Okay, I just needed to see because for one of the signs, the runes was a blank rune, and that is serious-ish, because that means that they're not going to tell you anything. So I want to say the central focus for this retrograde is this one, and that one is the sigil of Othila, and Othila has to do with some kind of separation. In the way right, which is talking about your future, is talking about this energy of the butterfly, then it's gold. And so the butterfly is important because it's talking about a death and a transformation, but when it's gold, it's talking about a death and transformation in the spirit. Now, right next to this separation, there's like these little, it's a triangulation. There's three different things, right? One of them is the cross. And if you look, it's kind of like an entangled cross, like it has a whole mess of little knots. I feel it's like a cross that you carry that has you all knotted up. It might be involving someone of the sign of Pisces and someone of the sign of Gemini. But more importantly, about the sign of the person that we're talking about is the fact that both Pisces and Gemini are two, right? Gemini are two people, Pisces are two fish, which tells me fish is your subconscious, and Gemini, people is people, right? So then it tells me that you've been of double mind and double action. So you do something and you say something, you think something, but you do something else. And so you kind of contradict yourself in the process, which is interesting because you are Libra, which is the scales. So you're supposed to balance your light and your dark. You're supposed to balance your duality. Yet here it feels like that is what the cross that you've been carrying is this tug of war between you and you. Now, this tug of war between you and you can manifest themselves physically into different people. And the Pisces, the Gemini energy, when it's in a negative concept, right? They're a two-faced person. So they say one thing and they act a different way. But Pisces also, for me, it's like they say they are saintly, right? But they do witchcraft, because Pisces has to do more with your subconscious. So it's like they say they're praying for you, but they're actually sending you evil intention, right? So this would be like a pastor or somebody that's always in church, but their prayers and their intentions and their actions do not reflect their external world. And then the other one is just a person that lies to everybody that's around them. And so you would know how that works. But there are two crosses that you carry, and it's talking about duality. And your whole thing that you have to do in this world is learn how to balance your energy out. So the fact that you have two things that are talking about your spirit and your physical self and the cross that you're carrying, and the fact that it's talking about transformation is telling me that these individuals might be rocking the boat, and it might make you feel like, holy crap, this is the worst thing ever. But it's an investigation of self, right? Where in you can you say that you are like these people, and how can you correct it? Then that's how you can change things, because Jesus says, take your cross and follow me. And what he's saying is realize that these things around you are legit you, right? and they're demonstrating outwardly who you are inwardly, and you hide into the world. And so if you fix you, you'll fix the people you connect to. And the left, that talks a lot about your past, right? You have the dragonfly. So you literally just went through like um a transformation. But for me, dragonfly's transformation compared to a transformation of a butterfly is short lived, because they have a less life expectancy. And that one is more in the physical. So before, you just had a physical transformation, right? Where you left a job, you changed your hair, you changed your friend group, you changed your religion. It doesn't matter, but it's been an external transformation. You lost a whole mess of weight, you left an addiction, fill in the blank. Okay, you just had a physical one, and you're going into a spiritual one by the end of this Pluto retrograde. And it's all gonna center around you separating from the person that you are when you're around these individuals, the you separating yourself from the version of yourself that is identical to these people. Because the reality is, friends, um, we had the saying in Spanish that says, dime con quién hablas y te diré quién eres, which is, tell me who you walk with and I will tell you who you are. And so I feel like these people, friends, acquaintances that you have, they are a reflection of you. You might say, well, I know this person is X, Y, and Z, but that's not my belief system. I just hang out with them because they work with me or whatever. No, you hang out with them because a part of you still reflects on that. And it's time for you to realize that and let that go. Um, so that's interesting for the Pluto retrograde. Now, for the full moon that we have in Scorpio, the full moon in Scorpio is interesting because the full moon has to do with things outside of yourself, other people's monies, resources, connections, also spell work and things that are hidden because it's Scorpio. But it's there's Mercury will be in Taurus, which makes things very confrontational. And then there's a square in Pluto in Aquarius. So the square in Pluto in Aquarius and all that energy, it literally is talking about retaliation energy. I would use this energy to create a good defense for yourself, right? Because isn't that saying the best offense is a great defense? I would say that for you right now, because legit, there are influences around you that are trying to negatively project themselves towards you in this full moon. So I would do in this full moon some kind of protection magic. Now, that being said, the energy around this moon is the devil. And the devil is the energy of restrictions. It's the devil, the energy of contracts and agreements, things that will bind you and limit you. So be very mindful for a few weeks, like the first couple of weeks in May, to protect your energy because of this. Okay. Now, the new moon, that'll be the 29th, the new moon on the 29th is this energy in Gemini. And Gemini is all about communications and your foundations. And now that is coming into Mercury in Gemini. Mercury in Gemini is a great time to network, to connect, to expand your collective is what I just finished hearing, right? And your social networks. Here, you also have a sextile, which is like, I want to say a net that you can cast out of Neptune and Aries. Neptune is your subconscious, it's your spiritual self, it's your like inner knowing connected to the authority of yourself, your self-sovereignty, your self-strength. So this day would be a great day to do a manifestation for your future, to call into existence your soul family. This is also a great time to create a covenant and an agreement with your spiritual team. And as I said that, we have this card of the Page of Wands. And do you see that there's a swing, right? And they're holding a parchment, and it feels like swinging into a new agreement, a new covenant. And so I feel like this is really telling you that it's time for you to, I don't know, change your soul group is would be a very good way to say it. In the bottom of the deck, we have the World card. And the World card is saying, open your world, open, expand yourself, allow yourself to get outside of that small bubble that you're currently in. May is that's the focus for you, to remove yourself from the same like niche and then expand into something more. Now, Well, there are 4 weeks in May, so I'm going to pull 3 cards for every week to give you more information as to the weeks themselves, okay? So Libra, first week. Okay, so the first thing we have is victory. We have the 6 of inspiration. That's the 6 of wands. Literally, as above, so below. If you think it, it shall be. You will have victory. 8 of inspiration, which is the 8 of wands, literally telling you, allowing you to push past the red tape and expand yourself forward, shifting yourself into a new reality, expanding your world. But then here we have the 5 of inspiration. And I don't think that has to do with somebody else. I think that has to do with you. So there's a lot of wands energy here. So it requires a lot of action, and it requires a lot of activation of your solar plexus energy, which is your divine masculine authority energy. And it's telling you that you have to have victory, you have to change your mind and then actively move in the direction of the mind that you are changing. Remember that I told you they're telling you to expand your world. I feel like, Libra, the biggest hiccup you have is that you're always around the same people, the same groups, the same organizations, the same whatever. And it's asking you to move past that, move outside of that, and open yourself up to a different reality. And then the 5 of inspirations is like, the reason you haven't done that, though, is because you self-sabotage. You, every single time you're around this other group, you feel judged. But know that when you feel judged, it's because you're judging yourself. Because the reality is that 99.9% of the population in the world, their world is about them. They didn't got time for you. They didn't got time for your problems. They don't have time for anything, right? So if that is like that, then every single time you feel judged or whatever, it might be a reflection more of you than the person around you. Now, there is possibility that people are judging you, but who cares? Because if somebody judges you, but you know who you are, it won't affect you negatively. So sometimes putting yourself in situations where you feel like you're fighting with yourself and you feel uncomfortable and you feel like they're not your group, right? Sometimes it's the best way for you to overcome your own fears. Like, I'm big on that. I have a tendency of pushing my own envelope and putting myself in situations that feel a little bit unnerving, that might trigger old memories and whatever, and stuff like that, just so that I can move past them, so I can know that I'm more than, and you are more than, Libra. So second week. Oh, I got 4 cards instead of 3. So the first card that flew out is the 9 of voices. And see, this is mental. This is sleeping and not being able to sleep because you're thinking about and ruminating about stuff that is so not true. And we have the Ace of Emotions, which is the Ace of Cups. And this one I like because it's talking about you delving really deep into these feelings, like really going inside yourself. When did they start? Whose voice did they have? Is it something that you were taught while you were growing up? Because I can tell you the majority of the shit that we have in our minds that causes fear, worries, and doubts is something that we heard or we lived through that we need to confront. Okay. And then the third thing we have is, this is interesting. We have the 3 of emotions, which is the 3 of cups, and the 5 of voices, which is the 5 of swords. And that literally is talking about your mind, your body, and soul still feeling like that wounded warrior. You're living through your wounds. This is the second time you got a 5 in the end of the cards that I pull out. So it's 55. This is literally telling you it's time for you to change. It's time for you to move on. It's time for you to expand. You have lived your life creating walls to the fears and the worries that you have in your future. It's time for you to start knocking some of them down, even if you're scared, right? And this, if you can't do it on your own, dude, it's awesome. You can go to somebody else and you can have that person be your guide and your counsel as you start moving forward on this. Third week, we have the High Priestess, and this is actually awakening to something. And what you're awakening to, the Sun card, the truth, your clarity, and 4 of materials of how you've been limiting yourself. You've been limiting yourself. And you've been limiting yourself because you haven't expanded your world, because it's safer where you are, even though it's uncomfortable, right? This reminds me of like like a pair of jeans that you no longer fit in, and you know you need a higher size, but you don't get it because, oh my God, that means I'm a higher size. Well, maybe let's try out the higher size. Maybe that's going to expand you to a whole new world, you know? So fourth week, 5 of emotions, 5 of cups, unsure, uncertainty, feeling like I'm going to focus on all the bad stuff that's happened to me in the past instead of taking the opportunity of looking into something new and moving into calmer waters. And then we have the spark of inspiration, right? Page of inspiration, space of wands. It's like the idea that will help you, 8 of emotions, which is the 8 of cups, move towards the unknown, move towards the black hole, move towards into a different aspect and personality in your life. And the bottom of the deck is talking about the 2 of emotions, which is literally talking about creating new connections and new networking. I mean, if you want me to tell you your theme for May is network, connect to different groups and organizations, connect to different people. The people that you've been hanging around with this entire time has you a little bit jaded. And that is the problem. Like, you're living in fear because of the group that you're in. But if you move out of it, holy crap, the world that you can knock into. So be mindful of who you share energy with. And if it's limiting you, and if it's the only reason you're there is because of the sense of security, like they're a security blanket. All right. I hope this helps you. We'll see you the next time.